All right, we are ready to go over our Unit 1 review. On our Unit 1 review, we will be doing measurement as well as finding the area of a rectangle, parallelogram, triangle, and a trapezoid. So for our review, you will need your star chart, so you will have your measurements. On question number 1, we need to use our ruler to measure the dimensions of the rectangle to the nearest centimeter. So we're going to line up our edge on 0, go over, we're going to the nearest centimeter, which means to the nearest whole number, so this would make that 13. When we have 13 centimeters on top, the parallel congruent line on the bottom is also 13 centimeters. Now we need to measure our right and our left side. When I measure my right side using my star chart, the nearest whole number is 3 centimeters. So we're going to write that there on the right. Because it is congruent with what is on the left, we're going to go ahead and write 3 centimeters on the left. Now we need to know the area of a triangle. Remember, we do not have to have these areas memorized because they are located on our star chart on the back. So a rectangle, I need to make sure I use area is base times height. So over here, area equals base times height. Now, my base is 13 times my height is 3. So 13 times 3, I know that 3 times 3 is 9, and 3 times 1 is 3. So we have 39 square centimeters for our area of our rectangle. Okay, let's move on to number 2. On number 2, the dimensions are already given to us. So I need to find the area of a trapezoid. Again, I'm going to look on my star chart. I do not have to have this formula right here memorized. So I'm going to rewrite my formula on my paper. Area equals 1/2 parentheses base 1 plus base 2 parentheses closed times your height. That is my formula for area of a trapezoid. Before I begin, I need to make sure and label my parts of my trapezoid so I know my base 1 and my base 2. Remember, your base 1 and your base 2 must be parallel to one another. So base 1 is 5 inches, base 2 is parallel, which is 8 inches, and now my height base pair still has to be there. We have to form that perpendicular line. So my height base pair is my 4 right here, and we're going to label that with an H. So we're going to plug in our numbers. 1/2 parentheses base 1 is 5, base 2 is 8 times the height of 4. Now I can go and have 1/2. Remember PEMDAS we need to use to make sure that we are solving these correctly. So we need to solve whatever is in parentheses first. So 5 plus 8 is 13. And now I rewrite. So now we can do 1/2 of 13. 1/2 of 13 is 6.5. If I don't know that, over here to the side, I could divide 13 divided by 2, and that would give me 6 times. Subtract, you get 1. Well, remember, we have to add that decimal and a placeholder 0. So now we have 2 goes into 10 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10, and when we subtract, we get 0. My decimal is going to go straight up, so that's how we get 6.5 over here. Now we need to do 6.5 times the height, which is 4. So neatly, I will work it right here. 6.5 times 4 is 20. 24 plus 2 is 26. Recall that we have 1 number behind the decimal here, 0 numbers behind the decimal here, which means I need to move it once to the left to get 26 square inches. Great job on the area of a trapezoid. All right, let's turn to number 3. On the back, on question number 3, we're going to need to use our ruler again from our star chart. Remember, we're going to measure this to the nearest centimeter, so we're going to go to the nearest whole number again. So when I'm measuring my side lengths, my closest one here is 7 centimeters. The bottom measurement, the nearest whole number, is 6 centimeters. And then I'm going to go over to the opposite side, and I also have 7 centimeters again. So, but the question is asking me to find the area of a triangle. So when I'm looking for the area of the triangle, oops, sorry guys. When I'm looking for the area of a triangle, I need to use the back of my star chart as a reference. So here is my triangle, 1/2 base times height. So I'm going to rewrite my formula. Area is 1/2 base times height. We also said in class that that is the same thing as area equals base times height divided by 2. We said those were the same thing. So now I know that this is my base of 6. However, I don't know my height because my height has to be perpendicular to that base. Remember, it's got to form that 90-degree line. So with your star chart or with an index card, remember it has to be perpendicular, and when we're looking at a triangle, it has to go to the opposite. What's that called? The corner. What's a big word for corner? The vertex. Good. So we are going to the opposite vertex. So now this is our perpendicular line. We do have to measure that to make sure that we know what the height is going to be. Remember, we're going to the nearest centimeter, and when we go to the nearest centimeter, we're actually going to go to 6.5 because this is our half. It's closer to 6.5. So my height on this one is going to be 6.5 centimeters or 6.5 centimeters. Now we're ready to plug in to our formula. We have right here, we have 1/2. The base is 6 times 6.5. Or if we do this formula, we would do 6 times 6.5 divided by 2. Remember, we get the same thing if we do the reciprocal, or we divide by half, or divide by 2. Okay? So now we're ready to multiply. 6.5 times 6, that would be 30. 36 plus 3 would make 39. We have 1 digit behind my decimal, so that means I'm going to have to move it once to the left, so that's going to give me 39. So now I have to rewrite 39 times 1/2 or 39 divided by 2. Well, if I do 39 divided by 2, 2 can go into 3 once. Multiply, you get 2. Subtract, we get 1. Bring down your 9. 2 goes into 19. Oh, 9 times. 9 times 2 is 18. Subtract, we get 1. We can't leave a remainder, so we need to add our decimal and our 0. Now we bring down our 0. And we know 2 can go into 10 5 times. So 5 times 2 is 10. We subtract and now have 0. And my decimal is going to go straight up. So now my answer is the area is 19.5 square centimeters. Great job. All right, number 4. Tell whether the line segments of a given length can or cannot be the sides of a triangle. Remember the straw activity that we did. When we measured our straw activity, we said that the short plus the middle length has to be greater than the longest side. So on the first one, we have to take the two shortest, 10 and 14. 10 plus 14 equals 24. 24 is greater than 19, so yes, we can make a triangle. 8.5 and 8.5. So 8.5 plus 8.5 is going to give me 17. 17 is greater than 12.5, which is my longest side, so yes, we can make a triangle. And the last one, 3 feet and 8 feet. 3 plus 8 is 11, and 11 is less than 12. So guess what? We cannot make a triangle with those side lengths. Good job, guys. Let's go down to number 5. The area of a trapezoid, remember, we do not have to memorize this formula. We need to use our star chart. So right here, our formula of a trapezoid, 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 multiplied by the height. So we're going to rewrite area is 1/2 parentheses base 1 plus base 2 times the height. Now, before we start on this, we need to know what B1 and B2 mean. We're looking for the two parallel sides. So 4 is parallel to 10. Those are our two bases, base 1 and base 2. Our height is going to be 5 because that is a perpendicular pair to our base. So we plug in our numbers. 1/2, 4 plus 10 times the height is 5. So we need to do PEMDAS and do parentheses first. 1/2 times 14 times 5. Well, 1/2 of 14 is 7, or 14 divided by 2 is 7. So now we have 7 times 5, which equals 35 square centimeters. So our area is 35 square centimeters. Boy, that's a lot of work to show, but we have to show our work to make sure we can defend our answer. All right, we have another trapezoid, so I'm going to rewrite my formula every single time so that I can make sure I know the formula that I'm supposed to use for that shape. So we're doing area of a trapezoid. Area is 1/2 parentheses base 1 plus base 2 times your height. Again, our parallel lines are the 12 and the 8. So we have base 1 and base 2. My height here is 3, so that is my height for this problem. Fill in your numbers, 1/2, parentheses open, 12 plus 8, parentheses closed, times my height is 3. Parentheses first, 12 plus 8 is 20. So we have 1/2 of 20 times